This is the Rumors Are True podcast, brought to you by Pantheon Media Network.
What's up, everyone? This is Zach from May, and you're listening to the Rumors Are True podcast.
Welcome, this is Jeremy Allen Gould, and I'm coming to you today to confirm between God and of man that the rumors you have all heard are true. I started this podcast to have a platform for the bands and artists that I've worked with in the past, as well as new musicians and artists that influenced myself and many others. The Rumors Are True podcast is an opportunity for the artists to tell their story their way. I'm still in the business of confirming rumors. I still love a good conversation, and I still freaking love music. So thanks again for joining me on this journey, and I hope you like what you hear. With that said, the rumors are definitely true.
Is it the sweetest song I've ever heard? You're singing in your native tongue, and how I long to be there within your words. How I long to be your steady drum. Close your eyes, we're going under, and I will breathe you even when we're sinking down. And as we're drifting further, hold you closer to me now. And Nora, close your eyes, we're going under.
Hey, welcome back to this latest episode of the Rumors Are True podcast. My name is Jeremy, and today I welcome Stephen Laurenson. You know Stephen from the bands Copeland and States. Awesome conversation with Stephen. So honored to have him on this podcast to bring me through his journey through music and what he has coming in his future. So I hope you enjoy this latest episode with Stephen Laurenson. Stephen, what is up, my friend? Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Of course.
Man, super honored to talk to you and hang out. Just really appreciate you taking time for me. And yeah, really we're stoked to hear your journey.
Thanks, man. Stoked to be here.
Yeah, man. What's going on in your world, man? Tell me what's current in your world.
Living in Nashville, Tennessee. A lot of producing right now. Working on a few artists in town, and day-to-day life pretty chill. Live kind of on the outskirts of the city with my fiance. And,
nice.
Doing music for her as well. We've been working on stuff for the past couple of years, and actually just started releasing stuff for the past year. And then working on Copeland and all that jazz still.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does the production stuff that you just mentioned, is it bands or is it just artists by themselves? What's that looking like?
A combo of things, working with a solo artist a little bit, and then currently working with these brothers right now on a new project.
The Jonas Brothers? Just kidding.
called the Jonas Brothers. I don't know if you've heard of them. I wish. No, they're super awesome. They're called Last Chance Forever. And
Oh, cool.
they just put out their first single. Yeah, super cool stuff.
Sweet. I'll have to check that out. That's awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy production?
I love it. Yeah, I'm a total introvert. So being home, working on music is my favorite thing, whether
Yeah.
it's by myself or with whoever. Yeah.
What's the toughest part about producing?
Ooh, toughest part about producing. Getting everyone's voices heard if there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think listening to everybody, because I really feel like the best product is when everyone gets a little touch in there,
Yeah.
So yeah, trying to help the process be out of the way, but in the way at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of your production heroes? Just who have you looked up to production wise?
Oh, dang. Oh, funny enough, I actually was just getting back into his catalog. I don't know his actual name, but his artist name is Sohn.
Okay.
Sohn is his project. I've loved a lot of stuff he's produced, either his own stuff, his own projects, or did things like Banks. The
Okay.
first Banks record.
Okay. Yeah.
Trying to blank on some other ones. Who else? I don't know. I don't follow many producers, funny enough, being a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird in that sense. I don't look at credits that much. I don't dive into that stuff
Dude,
too
I
often.
get it. I'm complete opposite. I'm like nerd. I guess got to read every little
right.
detail.
That's what most people are. I don't know. I probably should more, but yeah.
Well, that's going to tail into my next question, I guess. Bring me through growing up for you, music-wise, bands, records, influences. I'm sure some records probably hit you pretty hard and kind of pushed you in the direction you wanted to.
Yeah. Throughout the younger years, grew up in church, wasn't allowed to listen to secular music. So starting out was Michael W. Smith.
Yeah, dude, he's the man.
Was the big one in the early years.
Smitty.
Old Smitty. And then that turned into, let me think. Probably Switchfoot was probably one of the first
Great band.
really big loves. I think they were probably the gateway into like, oh wow, there's a lot of sounds and ideas here. And I think they were my first show as well.
Wow.
So big Switchfoot fan for many years. And then through high school, Thursday was a big one.
Yeah, great band.
At the drive-in was
fantastic.
a big switch for me. I think At the drive-in was then the switch into much more broader world of music. I would say those are probably some of the big ones growing up.
That's awesome. I love At the Drive-In. Phenomenal band. I actually got to see them with Jimmy Eat World in the late 90s, and it was mind-boggling. Dude, mind-boggling.
Jimmy's another big one, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Clarity. Yeah.
What? Clarity. By the way, incredible. What? When did you pick up an instrument? When did you kind of notice you had some talent pretty early? What was that like?
So my brother Brian, who is
Sure.
in Copeland with me, he kind of set the path of the musician world, and I kind of was following him. So he picked up guitar. I immediately wanted to play guitar, but my parents didn't let me because they wanted me to learn piano first. So learned piano for a couple years, and probably like 8, 9, 10. And then in middle school, picked up a guitar, played guitar for a couple years, and then kind of switched back to piano. Became kind of my main instrument for a bit. And yeah, then I went back and forth through high school. Then started a little pop punk band in high school. So went straight to the power chords and back to the guitar again.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Was did you need like any sort of like lessons, or did it come naturally? Like, I mean, did your brother obviously, had an influence as well, but like for both you guys, was it just kind of like, oh, this is easy, or was it a struggle to learn it?
Definitely not. We both had, I think we had the same piano teacher, and the piano teacher actually told my mother that we had no talent and like that we would not succeed in anything music related, and that she should encourage us to do other things. Yeah. So yeah, quite the opposite.
Dude,
and then
that
guitar
sucks.
Yeah, and then guitar. I think we were both kind of self-taught. I think Brian taught me a few chords, and actually, my father told me he would buy me my first guitar if I learned Blackbird.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
Kind of, yeah. The first song I ever really learned on guitar.
It's a good song. Yeah,
mostly
it's a great song.
It's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good riff.
You should find that piano teacher and send her records and put a middle finger in there.
Yeah, right. Look at this.
That's like really devastating to like hear somebody say that about you, especially at that age. I mean, that's gotta. Did you hear it in particular, or did you find out later?
No, I don't think my mom told me. Yeah, she didn't say it to our face. I think my mom. Yeah, it might have been a few years later. My mom brought it up. Yeah. That's harsh. But hey, proved her wrong, dude. Proved her wrong. Yeah, right. Yeah. Put a fire under us to make it happen.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Hey, this is Jeremy with the Rumors Are True podcast. We'll pause for a word from our sponsors. Stick around. You don't want to miss what's next. So you mentioned kind of having a pop punk band and kind of delving into the world of bands. And then obviously through, later on in time, you wound up joining Copeland as a touring guitarist, keyboardist member. Kind of bring me through how that came to. Obviously, your brother being in the band, I'm not sure had a big part of it, but just kind of how that came to and what that was like touring with them before they wound up taking a break.
Yeah. So Brian at that point and Aaron had already been doing Copeland for a handful of years. They had done, I believe, Beneath Mesentery and Emotion, and they were working on the third record, and a lot of the composition, I think, started changing a little bit. Aaron was much more on the piano. So they wanted to bring another auxiliary guitar player, keys player. And so they asked me to come on board, which I was only 17 at the time, which Aaron did not know, apparently, and said later that if he knew my age, he would have not let me on the road at that point. So I was 17, started touring with them. Yeah, I think about that age. Sorry, what else did you ask? Sorry.
Well, I was just saying, what was that like touring with them? Obviously, in a pretty established band at that point. What was that like for a 17-year-old, to kind of join in? And did Aaron, I guess, was your brother like, hey, my brother would be perfect for this? Or did Aaron just kind of see you one day and go, whoa, kind of realize the talent?
So, yeah, I think, I'm pretty sure it came more from Aaron. Thanks, Brian. I knew him for many years prior to that. And, when they'd come through town, they'd usually stay at our house. So Aaron and I bonded, and, I think I was working on my own little music back then. So he saw a decent amount of, I think, how I could perform. So yeah, he asked me to come on board. I'm sure Brian did as well. Don't want to throw him under the bus. In the early years, yeah, I mean, it was beyond terrifying. I remember my brother calling me. I was about to graduate high school, and he was like, what did you think about coming on the road with us? I think I almost passed out,
Wow.
first like week. I think I told him no at first because I was just too freaked out by it. And then realized I can't, pass up this opportunity.
Sure.
So jumped on the road with them. The first tour was opening for Jack's Mannequin.
Wow.
And I think my first show was in front of like 3,000 or 4,000 people. Terrified out of my mind. I was homeschooled my whole life. So yeah, like, sheltered little world to this was very intense. The first handful of shows, I remember I had my amp so low. It was, at 0.2. And each night Aaron would be like, "Hey man, you can turn up your amp a little bit. I think you can. I think you're a little quiet." I was like, "All right, you sure?"
Did you fear that you would not be playing good enough? Is that why you turned it down, or were you just little?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first handful of shows, yeah. I think I got comfortable pretty quickly, but yeah, it was rough at first for sure.
That's hilarious.
Actually, funny enough, I remember when we were the first few practices we had. I remember to over prepare, even though I still wasn't confident, and showed up and we played through some songs. And afterwards, like Aaron had this kind of shocked look on his face. He's like, "Oh wow, you actually did really well." I was like, "Did you expect me to do bad?" He's like, "No, but I know you're dyslexic, so I thought you'd like play things backwards or something." Or I was like, "No, man."
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What are some of the other tours you wound up doing? And I mean, when you guys would headline too, kind of what was that like? I mean, did you feel like the crowds were pretty decent size? I feel like you guys were super ascending at that point, just kind of, yeah. What was that experience like? Just kind of going through that rise.
Yeah, I mean, it was very wild. I mean, I was, not a part of the first handful of years of them having to, buckle down, sleep on couches. Mm-hmm. I think there was one year that they played more shows than there were days in the year.
Wow.
They were just hustling. So by the time I joined, things were doing pretty well. We did the Jack's tour, and I think right after that we did the headline of Eat, Sleep, Repeat. And the tour was great. It was, I think, a lot of sold out shows, and yeah, it was very wild. Acclimating to that without, the journey up there was strange.
Sure.
I felt not worthy, I think, a lot of days. I remember even our guitar tech, I'd always feel bad, like him, like tuning my guitar and stuff. I was like, "Let me do it." Like, why are you doing that? I should be doing this.
Yeah.
But it would.
He's like, "I know. I should be doing
he's like, "No, I'm definitely supposed to be doing this." Yeah, it was a very exciting, jarring, and yeah, big time of life.
So why weren't you? And I'm not trying to sound odd, but as a touring, sure. Why weren't you included in the band from at that point?
At that point, Eat Sleep was already finished. They had tracked it all. And then Sunshine, I don't know. I mean, when I was home, I was doing other things. I was still considering, I was trying to go to college. I was a little bit 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Sure, I get that.
Decide if this is fully my world, and I think for them as well. I think they had a kind of dialed in routine with how writing and things worked, and even Sunshine, the next record. I could be wrong, but I feel like a few of the songs were almost kind of pretty flushed out by the time even the third record was already done.
Wow.
So, yeah. But then after Sunshine, I guess there's only one in between, right? Yeah. And then after Sunshine, I joined with the writing force for Exora.
Okay. Very cool. Well, what, I guess bring me through what led to kind of the initial break before you started States. Yeah, what you're touring, obviously it's going well. What kind of led to that break?
I think it was a bunch of things. Copeland went through some hard industry times with Eats to Repeat. It got upstream to Columbia, being like the first major release.
Yeah.
But Columbia, right when that happened, was also going through a bunch of changes. And that's when I forgot who was the head, but he, I believe, got let go or left or something. A whole new team came in, including all new A&Rs, all new everything. So we immediately, like pretty much shortly after signing, got put a bit on the back burner. So yeah, it was a bit of this strange plateau. Didn't know where to go. Still signed, but I don't want to.
Not a priority to label. Yeah.
At least at that time, and the people that the A&R and everyone that signed the guys at that point were not a part of it anymore. So, thankfully, eventually, our lawyer was able to get us out of it. But then at that point, man, I don't remember. A lot of this is blurring together. I guess Sunshine was being done around that point. And yeah, I think through Eat, Sleep, and Sunshine, things plateaued out a little bit, and I think touring got a little more stagnant.
I'm sure the burnout was, I can believe it.
Yeah. Especially for them. And the guys were, getting married, and that phase of life was kind of coming together. So, I don't know if there was ever like a specific moment or like one thing that kind of made the break happen. But, I think some of them wanted to still tour. Some of them wanted to make records, but not tour. They're a bit of not sure where to go. So yeah, it's just a point of like, okay, maybe time for a break or to call it for now.
Which was probably wise, let you guys kind of clear your heads and regroup and,
sure.
and, get some clarity of sorts.
Totally. For sure. Yeah. And I think, Brian had some ideas of things he wanted to pursue, and same with Aaron. Aaron was really getting heavy into producing. He had built a beautiful studio in Lakeland and kind of wanted to go full force into that.
That's cool. Well, you wind up starting the band States with your brother. Kind of bring me through how that started. It sounds like obviously you just kind of alluded to your brother having some ideas. Kind of bring me through States and, the initial beginning of that band.
Yeah, so I don't remember the year, but at some point we were touring with a band called Lydia. And Mindy White was one of the members of that band, and we all hit it off a lot on that tour. I shortly after that tour moved to Nashville, where Mindy lived, and we continued to be friends. And I think just one night we're joking around on some ideas, and then we're like, we should start a band. Like, this could be something cool. So Brian and I kind of knew that we wanted to do something post Copeland. I think we bounced around the idea of like a brother record or something. Him and I had a bunch of ideas and demos that we liked. But then when started writing some stuff with Mindy, we were like, well, she's an obvious great fit for a singer and super awesome. And, so the three of us started writing more together, and then ended up bringing John Bucklew.
Oh, I know John. I've known John for a long time.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's great.
So yeah, he was drumming for us, and then our good friend Dean, who was
I
one
know
of
Dean.
our touring.
That's great.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
heck
I
yeah.
do. Yeah.
Such a good guy. Who also toured with Copeland as well as a bass player. And yeah, man, I'm so bad with years. I don't know when the first stuff came out. We did a little EP
Okay.
in Brian's apartment in Florida, and did it all ourselves. I think everything, mixed and mastered it. Mindy, I think, made the artwork for it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Like y'all have your own. You all have your own like thing that you bring to the table with that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we all were kind of in our own little corner of his apartment for a month, kind of making some stuff. It was fun. Yeah.
What did that EP come out on a label, or is it self-released?
That was self-released.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that how Tooth and Nail kind of came about it, or did you guys kind of mention that this band was coming, and why Tooth and Nail?
Yeah, I don't remember how the early talks happened. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't remember, to be honest. I think the natural transition from Copeland working with them to us, we already had the connections, and we really loved the guys from Copeland stuff. And yeah, I don't know who started that convo, but we ended up then signing with them to do our first full length, which we did up in Seattle with Aaron Sprinkle.
Oh, love Aaron. That's great.
He's the best. And I think, it was up there for about a month. That was my first like real studio,
Proper full length. Yeah.
Proper full length.
Room to
Again,
Run to Run is with the record, correct?
Yeah, Room to Run. We were there for a month or about 6 weeks. It was a really fun process. I mean, Sprinkle became a very, very close friend. He's one of my favorite people.
Did he influence your production as well?
For sure. I mean, post that, definitely. And I'm sure pre. I think I listened to a lot of his records, not even realizing that he did, especially, I mean, Pedro Lion.
Yeah,
I mean,
whole EP, it's great.
Such a, that was big stuff.
And Control.
Amberlin, and, all the stuff he did was fantastic.
What was all the songs written for the full length when you came in? And did this record turn out the way you guys wanted it to?
I'm pretty sure we had them all written for the most part. I think some arrangements probably changed when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a chorus or two that Sprinkle helped write with us. But for the most part, we had a lot of songs, I think, in the bank ready to go.
Yeah.
In terms of looking back at it now, I'm very proud of it. I think being the first thing I did in the studio, there are definitely moments I think I would have done things a little differently maybe. And I think my voice, I wasn't as confident in my decision making in the studio at that point. But those are probably small moments, small things. Majority of it, I think, having Sprinkle involved was just such an honor, and he really helped shape a lot of it that I was just really happy to be a part of the process. And then the history with Brian and John already doing stuff with him with Copeland, it was a natural fit.
What was that like when you finally heard it done and completed on the mains and in the studio, mixed completely? What were your thoughts?
I think shocked. Like, oh wow, this is something we created. Like I was a part of, hearing a slick mix and, everything forward and not this bedroom demo. I think it felt like magic a little bit,
Sure.
Yeah, quick realization of like why those things are important. Like, oh, nice studio,
Yeah.
acoustically
Yeah.
treated, good gear, good producer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What did you guys hit the road after this for touring at all, and kind of what was that like?
And we toured a bit. We did some headline shows. We were at the beginning. We were potentially going to sign with Fuel by Ramen.
Oh wow!
I was talking to, at that point, the head, Janik, and we were kind of doing some shows around for kind of that team of people. We like did a mini tour to go up to New York to play for them and stuff. And then funny enough, kind of a Copeland 2.0 with Columbia kind of happened. He was in the middle of selling Fuel by Ramen or some kind of transfer. And then he was moving to Atlantic, I believe. So that our deal kind of fell through with them. And that's when Tooth and Nail ended up picking it up.
Okay.
I believe that was the switch. And then we did some more touring. We opened for some bands. We did open for the Rocket Summer for a tour.
Oh yeah, I booked him once.
Awesome guy. And then we did a Circus Survive tour.
Oh wow,
which was awesome. Yeah,
that's
that was
rad.
really, really fun. Yeah, super rad. Anthony is so dope. Probably one of my
so
favorite.
Talented.
He's insane.
Yeah,
probably one of my favorite, from people. Live, he is a monster. It's so awesome to watch. Yeah,
that's cool.
Other than that, yeah.
So was it just kind of a couple tours essentially here and there, and I mean just kind of when you had time and nothing extensive?
Yeah, it was hard because at that point Brian was newly married. He might have had his first kid at that point. John was recently married. Yeah, it got harder to be on the road. Or just to kind of get people together for a long period of time, especially if it wasn't financially lucrative.
Sure.
So, we definitely put a lot of time into it for a few years, and then did a second record, which Brian and I, Paradigm, which Brian and I produced. And we put that out. We actually did a Kickstarter for that, which was really fun. It was an interesting experience connecting with fans that way. A bit of a medium I didn't think we would do. But we didn't tour after that, I don't think. I think we just put the record out.
How did you get off a Tooth and Nail with a one album?
I don't think we did, actually. I think we were still signed as writers or something for a little bit, but for some reason they didn't option Paradigm.
Oh, they didn't option though. Okay.
I don't remember. We had such strange deals back then, and everyone was, because of Copeland and because of just a bunch of friendships and stuff, they were all very, I think, not traditional in some respects.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember fully.
It's an anomaly, is what that is.
I know. I do not
very
remember that.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
We were stuck in our publishing deal. We signed to Primary Wave, and that deal, they put their teeth into us, and it actually took over, I think, a decade to get our signatures back. Pretty much, I couldn't sign a deal. I couldn't really do anything for almost all my 20s because of that deal. Yeah, it was.
That sucks.
It was a bit rough.
I bet it was.
But I mean, at the same time, I get it. Like contracts.
Sure.
They're really nice guys. I really enjoyed working with them. Have nothing bad to say about them.
Yeah. Hey, this is Jeremy from the Rumors Are True podcast. Hang right there. Here's a word from our sponsors. Well, you mentioned recording this record and producing this record with your brother. What was that like, kind of working with your brother on the production side of things? Was it pretty seamless, pretty easy, and kind of what are your thoughts on the record?
Yeah, it was pretty seamless. I think Brian and we've been writing together and dabbling in music since we were kids, and I already had a good workflow together, and we're brothers, so we'll yell and scream at each other, but it dies off quickly, and thankfully, like we're both very similar, I think, in musical tastes and ideas. Sure. And we're both that soundboard for each other, write something, and if it gets past the other, then it's kind of the check mark. We usually agree. So I'm sure there are more pain points that I'm forgetting, but I feel like it was a pretty seamless process. I think the hardest part was second guessing ourselves probably a ton, being the writers and producers on it, I think was a bit new for both of us. So yeah, I think there was a lot of, back and forths, many different versions of the songs,
Sure.
We ended up actually, sprinkled and moved to Nashville around that time and had a studio here. And even though he wasn't producing the record, Brian and I produced a chunk of it out of his studio there.
That's cool.
Which was really, really fun. It was a good process. And I think looking back at a lot of the music we've done, I still feel, I think, proud of that piece, has a lot of holes and things that I would have absolutely changed looking back now. But at the period that we're at and the skills and knowledge,
sure.
I think we did a decent job.
That's awesome. You mentioned doing the Kickstarter. I know this was pressed on vinyl. Was it through Spartan or was it through you guys?
I have no idea.
I think it was Spartan. I thought I read that, but
I'm going to say that makes sense. I think
yeah,
it's right. Yeah.
I know John.
Probably.
He's cool. Good dude.
So, yeah, definitely.
I bet that was the first one ever pressed on vinyl as well, or was that the only one?
I don't think we ever. Oh man, no, I don't think we ever pressed it on vinyl.
Wow. I mean, sure that made you feel good having that on wax at some point. That's pretty dope.
That's a big moment for a musician.
Totally. Absolutely.
Especially in the digital age, even though we were still kind of fresh in the streaming world, right? It was streaming much of a thing then, I guess.
Maybe. It's been so long.
So even though physical was, less of a thing, there's a special moment when you get your first vinyl.
You pull it out and you look at it.
Oh man, we did it.
Hopefully you read the liner notes in that one.
yeah. Probably not. No,
that's awesome.
That's really, that was a fun memory for sure. Yeah.
Well, you guys wound up kind of ending the band. Was it kind of a like, hey, we're done, hiatus type of thing, music in the future possibly, or is it just, hey, this the nail is in the coffin?
It was a bit like Copeland, a bit open-ended, okay. Even though kind of publicly, I think we kind of, weren't doing it. That was right when we decided to start doing Copeland again. Okay. So probably led to that. Yeah. One thing kind of led to Brian and I back in Florida working on Copeland. And so our time got less and less, just got harder and harder to find space to really get stuff done. And I think we did a little bit, we did some writing a bit, I think shortly after, but we didn't release anything. And we've taught over the years, we've talked about it a few times and stuff, but nothing's materialized.
I got you. Maybe one day it will. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
You mentioned obviously Copeland getting back together, and then you become an official member. Kind of bring me through that. What was that like? Getting invited to into the collective essentially. I mean, you were there, but now you're a member. What was that like?
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. I was living in LA at the time, and was actually had just broken up with my girlfriend who I was living with out there, and was trying to figure out what to do. I was like, where am I going to live? Do I want to stay in LA? I was trying to do the producing world out there, and then Aaron gave me a call and was like, "Hey, like Brian and I talked a little bit, thinking about maybe doing another record. Would love to have you be a part of the writing and the producing part." So it's kind of a perfect moment. Like I
Sure.
was a bit lost. So yeah, I literally went from packed up my stuff, and a week later flew down to Florida, and we started Exora for a couple months. Yeah.
What was that like writing with the guys? Was that were you overwhelmed at this point still, or were you more like in the groove with these guys because you'd played with them for so long?
Yeah. I think a little bit of everything. I think a lot of excitement, a lot of nerves, just because I was a bit out of practice at that point of being in a band and studio. It's
Mm,
been a few years, um, and even though I had known Aaron for a decade at that point and toured with him, I think I very much looked up to him as a person, as a musician, and I think was very, very excited to get to combine forces with him to
yeah.
make some stuff. And, he already had a lot of nuggets kind of in the fire. So he was sending me them, I think, before I went down there, and was slowly kind of already coming up with some ideas. I do a lot of my stuff in the box, just on my laptop, sitting in the corner. So I kind of came down with a bag of some ideas, and yeah, the process I feel like was pretty seamless. His studio is really the studio he was in was really beautiful. Had several rooms, so we
Yeah.
each would kind of take a room and be working on our different parts and ideas, and then kind of come together and see what fits. And
Sure.
we were very isolated at that during that process, which was interesting. It was me, Brian, and Aaron and John for like the first week, maybe. I think John got a lot of his drums done pretty quick.
He said, "I'm
And
out."
then he's out. I mean, that guy is, talk about a wizard. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's incredible.
he's a one
Yeah.
take wonder. Like it's unbelievable. I mean, I remember we would play festivals, and we'd have a crowd of people, and then I turn around and there'd be like, six bands all watching us from side stage, and realizing that they're there to see John. Like everyone is
Wow.
just glued on John, watching him. Like he's such a musician's musician.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the three of us, Brian, Aaron, and I, probably for about a month then, were pretty much just the three of us cruising away on that record, not really knowing what we're doing.
Mm,
Because at that point, no, I think, yeah, all the other Copeland records were in other studios, produced by other people. So this was really Aaron's big first undertaking, producing, more of Copeland. Um, and then we flew straight from there to New York to mix it with a guy named Michael Brower,
okay.
who is a legend. He's done, been around forever. Started with like Aretha Franklin back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, and then did a good chunk of the Coldplay records, John Mayer
Wow.
records, like just complete
Jeez.
legend. Yeah, we got to do it in Electric Ladyland, which was also just a treat.
Yeah.
I think all three of us consider that week up there like one of the best weeks of our life. Just so many fun moments, and we did really quickly. His turnaround, he he usually does a record in like a couple weeks, and he only had a week for us. So we had to do, I think, 2 songs a day. So we'd come in, he would just cruise and do his thing. We'd listen, do tweaks right there, and then we were done.
Wow.
Which was crazy nerve-wracking, but looking back at it, I think I might almost prefer that kind of process to mixing a little bit. Like getting to be in the room with the engineer, like getting to make little tweaks quickly, and then just committing.
Very cool.
It's a good time.
Did this record turn out the way you wanted it to? I guess it kind of sounds like it might have. And what were your thoughts when you heard it done?
I would say out of everything I've been a part of, I think Exora is my favorite album. There's very little that I feel like I would have changed or, wished was done differently. That record definitely holds a special place, I think, to all of us. The way it came together, and I think we're all pretty proud of that one. I don't know what I would have done differently, or I think we were all kind of ripe to do something new together, being apart for a handful of years, and we had all kind of, I think, developed some tricks on our own, and had a new bag of ideas. So I think it was a special moment for us all to kind of, I think, flex all of those as much as we can.
Yeah, it's a great record. It's good.
Thank you, man.
Sounds great.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Did you wind up doing any, I know the touring probably isn't as prevalent now just because of everyone's situation, but did you wind up playing touring dates for this at all, or was it kind of spot dates? Or
Exora, we did a few tours. We the first tour back after the break, and then doing Exora, we opened for Paramore on one of their runs, which was wild.
I bet.
It was it was on I think like a back end of one of their records, so they were doing smaller rooms, but they were giant, 5,000 cap, beautiful theaters all across the country, and every night was like a kind of an oh my god, special evening. The venue and the crowd, and obviously a huge Paramore fan and love those guys, and that was really special. And then we did a headline right afterwards, like I think like a month or two afterwards. I think we jumped on a headline tour for Exora. But we didn't do a ton for that record. We only did a few, I think.
Yeah. Was that playing with opening for Paramore? Were the Paramore fans into you guys, or was it and it's kind of similar, but not at all, really. Were they into it?
Their fans are some of the nicest people. So if they didn't like us, they hid it well. They were very kind.
Yeah, I liked it.
You guys were great. I think so. I think, coming off of Exora, I think might have been a bit of a strange record for that. I think if we had even Sunshine would have made a little bit more sense. I think, but
I get what you're saying.
So I think we, and we wanted to play a lot of the new stuff. So I think we were torn with, playing the things that would fit, but also playing the things that we're currently doing,
Sure.
So I think that might have been the awkward fit of it, was maybe the wrong record cycle for that tour. But I think it did well. I mean, I think we made a decent amount of fans. I think some moms and dads probably liked us more than the kids, but yeah.
Did Exora sell really well? Did it do really well? I feel like it probably did. I don't know. Like sales wise?
I don't know. I was actually just talking to Brian about this. Like, I don't know the figures of like any of our albums. But I do know that one sold well. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it did. Yeah.
Especially the pre-order and everything kind of blew us away. Like the response coming back was very overwhelming, I think. Yeah. And it was a bit stressful on John's end because John was fulfilling the orders for the album.
Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare.
So he has a furniture company.
Yeah,
So he had a giant,
he does wood. Yeah,
beautiful stuff. And he had a whole place to kind of put all of the stuff,
store everything.
And,
yeah.
So I think we ended up having to hire a few people to help. But yeah, that was, I think it did well, out of the catalog. Yeah.
That's
sure.
Cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long do you take a break between Exora and Blushing, and kind of bring me through Blushing and kind of the recording and thoughts, memories from that?
So we took a bit of a break from touring and started writing after a couple of years after Exora. And Blushing was more of a slow process. We didn't do a lot of it together. We were doing a lot more on our own and sending files back and forth.
Remote,
doing a little more postal service-esque. So that was, I think, difficult because it just made the days slip by, and when someone could work on things or not work on things. Aaron came up to Nashville a good amount. We actually did a chunk of it at my house. At the time, we went to Chattanooga for a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Worked with our friend Stephen, out there on a couple tracks. It was a very fragmented record. Took a bit to get together, and then tied it up with Brower as well. Went back to New York and mixed with him again. And then toured on it for a little bit. I think it might have even been less than Exora, though. I think we did like one.
I think that's when I saw you guys in Jacksonville, at least. I feel like.
Where,
I saw,
do you remember what venue?
1904, I think.
1904. Okay. Is that the one that has the balcony?
No, it's definitely not. It's a grimy bar, but like there's like the band plays in front of the window. So there's like a window behind you, and there's like a cigar bar right next to it.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's probably, it doesn't stand out, to be honest with you. I mean, it was a cool venue, but like, nothing majestic or anything cool like that. Did this record turn out the way you wanted it to? I'm sure that was, like you said, difficult to kind of record from afar. I'm sure that probably takes away a lot of the creativity at times, just kind of being isolated. But yeah, did this turn out the way you guys wanted it to? And what are your thoughts on it?
Yes and no. I think, being a fragmented way of putting it together, I think, at least for me, I feel it a bit on the record. And we kind of separately and collectively, we all were going through some also different things in life, some difficult family stuff, some Aaron was going through a divorce. We all had some kind of stuff going on. So it was a kind of a strange period collectively and separately. And then not being together, I think, it was hard on a bunch of fronts, on a friendship level with everybody dealing with some stuff, and then on a work level, just being able to connect. So I definitely think in terms of like cohesiveness, the record doesn't feel as cohesive as Exora does to me. But at the same time, has some moments and a few songs that might be my favorite songs I've been a part of with the guys.
That's cool.
Like As Above is maybe my favorite song I've done with the guys. So definitely, I think had some shiny moments, and maybe a bit bummed that maybe we didn't get to flush it out a bit more.
Sure.
But
Well, it's a good record. It's a good record. It grew on me, to be honest with you. I think at the beginning I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel. And then I think it just kind of one of those records that just grows over time. And when you say you can hear the fragmentation, if you will, in it, I can kind of tell what you're saying, or kind of understand what you're saying. Obviously I'm not in the room with you guys, but I can just see, the difference between Exora and that one, just what you're saying in terms of just a cohesive record overall. But yeah, I think it's good. It definitely grew on me, and it's a great record. It's something to be proud of for sure. You mentioned working on some new Copeland stuff. What does that look like? What can you divulge?
Honestly, I don't know, because I haven't talked to the guys about what I can talk about.
Just tell me what you want. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah. No. I mean, they're not gonna be mad. We've been working on it for a while. This, I think, after Blushing, we knew we still wanted to continue. I think the three of us really love making music together. We just didn't know kind of the plan. We were not on a label anymore. Back to kind of old ways in our lives a little bit. Brian and Aaron both have children, and family life has gotten more and more involved as the years have gone on. So it's been a bit more of a longer planning on what it looks like. We've been working on it for a while. I mean, this has been a handful of years now.
Wow.
So yeah, very, very, very excited about it. Want to say more.
How close? How close is it? Within 2 years?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
So,
okay. That's that. You don't say.
Yeah, hopefully well before that, I think.
Are you guys going to shop it, or are you going to put it out on yourselves? Because I feel like a ton of labels will pick you guys up in a heartbeat.
Not sure yet. That's the bit of the not a ton can probably say yet.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, I think the difference, I think Blushing taught us a lot, being on our own with that for a lot of things and a lot of the do's and don'ts. So I think we're trying to, kind of approach this in a different fashion.
Sure. Totally.
Yeah.
That's exciting, man. I'm excited for you guys. And,
thank you, man.
It's the fact that you're excited and you're still not near the finish line per se, is really cool, because I feel like, once you layer it all up and make it sound pretty, it's going to be incredible for you guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, definitely, I'm excited for the future for you guys. I kind of want to touch on your little Sound Stripes syncing stuff as well. Abloom and Demure. Kind of bring me through that. I know I have a couple of friends that do sync music with other companies as well. Yeah, kind of bring me through that. I listened to the Abloom the other day. I loved it. It was great. It's really super chill. That's the best way I can describe it. Kind of bring me through that.
It's funny you even found it, because I feel like I thought it was fairly hidden. How did you even find it?
To be honest with you, I feel like it was either Discogs or All Music, one of those websites. I just kind of try to do deep dive on everyone I have on, just to kind of make sure I'm not sounding like an idiot. And I saw that, and I listened to it, and I thought the artwork was incredible on both of them, or all the ones you put out, like the shirt one or their sweatshirt. I thought it was so cool. But yeah, kind of bring me through that.
So I believe it was 2019. We were in between some Copeland stuff. My fiance and I moved back to Nashville. We were living in LA at the time. I've done the LA Nashville hop too many times. And I was starting to look for some work around town.
Steady work. Yeah.
I was trying to do some producing, and honestly was looking for something like Soundstripe. I was like, I kind of just want a bit more of a 9 to 5 a bit, if it's even possible with this kind of stuff. Didn't want to be on the road as much at that point. And so actually discovered Soundstripe randomly, I think, just from like Googling. And they're a catalog sync agency.
Yeah.
And hit them up about seeing if they're looking for any more musicians. And funny enough, at the time, I didn't realize this when I hit them up, but one of their artists was Sprinkle. Aaron Sprinkle was writing for them.
That's who I've heard about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
He's probably talked about it a good amount. I think he might even still work for him. So messaged them, and both Brian and I started talking to them. And then they signed us in 2019, I think. And a few months later, ended up then signing Aaron as well. So all three of us started working for them.
That's cool.
And worked for them for about 2 years, kind of into COVID and all of that stuff, which was a good job during that era.
I'm sure.
It's kind of really leave. I think I was doing about 6 songs a month for them.
Wow.
Which for me was a bit crazy because I was used to making music that takes a while. You know, we think about for too long and tweak and hem and haw over 1 or 2 songs. And now I can't do that and just have to turn things in. And it was a really fun process. I learned a lot. I think all of us grew a lot as producers, just having to, pump tracks out. Definitely a lot of what at least I created is a bit more on, more poppy, singable sides and things than I would, listen to or whatever. Definitely had the mindset of trying to, write stuff for them that would do well for them. It was a fun process. I'd love to do more of that kind of work, it's fun.
That's cool. Yeah. I listened to a couple of them on Spotify, which I thought was cool that they're even on there. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. It's funny because the older I get personally, I just enjoy I love lyrics, but I like music without lyrics a lot of the times, Hammock, for instance, is a band I love as well. It's just just that background noise that's just so put you in the mood or got just very chill and enjoyable and easy to digest, that type of stuff. But that's awesome, man. I'm stoked that you got to do that for a while and, be able to put that out and kind of be creative in a different avenue. Yeah, man, I know you can't predict the future, but what do you think the future looks like for you personally?
I think Copeland will continue to be a big part, hopefully. I think the next couple of years will hopefully ramp some more of that up again. And then continue to producing. I've enjoyed kind of focusing on a handful of artists in Nashville, and trying to kind of help develop them more than just produce, trying to kind of get my hands a little bit more into the weeds of, what does live look like for, developing artists and, even down to, how to put your music up correctly online and, get all the splits and get yourself on ASCAP. And there's so many parts of, the music artist side that people don't realize that you kind of need some knowledge in to make things move. So I really enjoy that part of the music. I like the music business part of things a bit. So, I think I'd like to continue to kind of help produce and maybe artist development a little bit with people.
That's cool.
It's what I'm doing a lot with Mel right now, putting a lot of time into stuff with her, and kind of, I think that's, maybe in the future, maybe developing more of that kind of stuff, maybe in a label or something at some point, I think would be fun. Brian and I and Aaron, all three of us, I feel like every week text each other of some new label idea or something like, what if we start something like this? So yeah, I think more of that in the future for sure.
That's exciting. Love that. Stephen, super enjoyed this conversation, man. I really am honored to hang out with you for a little bit and kind of bring me behind the curtain, and really appreciate all the music you've been a part of over the years. It's really impacted a lot of people, including myself. Just super great, to talk to you and hang out with me. I really appreciate it. Hey, listener, thank you so much for tuning in week in and week out. I really deeply appreciate it. It's been an honor each week. Just get the messages, the likes, the subscribes, all that stuff. So thank you again for listening week in and week out. If you'd like to add me on Instagram, at The Rumors Are True Podcast, same with Facebook as well. www.therumorsartruecast.com is the website. There's links on there as well if you're interested in going about it that route. Thank you to Stephen Laurenson. Incredible conversation. Super honored to talk to you about your musical journey and just what you've accomplished in the music field over the last couple of years. I really appreciate your time. So again, thank you, Stephen Laurenson. Got some incredible artists on the horizon, guys. And you know it, nostalgia is still a heck of a drug. The podcast is produced by Wesley Hill, artwork by Jared Chase Bowser, and music by Brian Jaron. This episode is dedicated to the memory of my dear friend, producer, and man of many talents, Brian Jaron.
300 Favorite Albums with James Campion.
I don't think there's an album I know better front to back. I learned how to play guitar to a lot of these songs.
If I could pick one record to hand someone and say, this is what it feels like to be a woman, it would be this record.
You know, the engineer that was recording the album for us was a novice engineer. He was really the janitor.
The first half of these sessions for the album were totally improvisatory in the sense that they went into the studio and just dealt with whatever happened.
There was space that was left for these listeners to kind of discover it for themselves. That they would say, yeah, my parents listened to it, but I had to build my own relationship to it.
Happiness, good living, peace, love, rock and roll. I just feel like this album is such a wonderful translation of that concept.
People understood they were in a world historical moment, and it felt like it was going to last forever. In fact, the infinite spaces that they explored in The Giant Now is part of what made that explosion so huge.